some of the recent podcasts that I have recorded, they've been with college coaches who have been doing it for a very long time. And we've talked a little bit about how we can improve the IQ of the game, how to help our athletes who maybe are high school athletes who maybe don't traditionally watch full baseball games, full college games, or full pro games, and just kind of brainstorming how can we, in a day and age where highlights are king, YouTube shorts, TikTok reels, our athletes get to see a lot of amazing highlights, whether it's Paul Skeens, touching 104, or Kyle Schwarber with the leadoff home run, whatever it may be. Our athletes get to see a lot of those highlights, but they maybe don't get to see all the intricacies of the game. And so what do we do with that? How do we adapt and grow and continue to help our athletes understand the finer points of the game that we love? It was a topic around that game, what our athletes see in highlights, and our game, what we experience on the field with our high school athletes, and what's the differences there, and how do we help our athletes understand the differences. A college coach made a comment. He said, I love that game. I love watching, a guy hit 40 home runs, and have a batting at, but he's got a batting average of 200 or 240. And that, unfortunately, he made this comment. He said, that unfortunately is not my game. It's not the game I'm responsible for coaching. And I thought that was an interesting perspective, and it helped me look at things just a little bit differently in how I coach athletes, young athletes. I need to coach them in the stage they're in. I need to coach them in the things that they need to know to get to the next grade or get to the next level. And sometimes, because of the plethora of video and highlights, we are coaching to a game that's not really ours. It's not the level that our athletes are at, or will even get to. So I do think that's an interesting, kind of separation there, is that what we see on TV or what we see in the highlights, that's not the game that we're coaching. And the game that we're coaching may have some different attributes. For example, at the pro level, we see guys throwing harder and guys having incredible movement. So they might sacrifice command or control, but their stuff is so incredible. Paul Skeen's stuff is so incredible that maybe he can get away with a little less command. That's not true in our game. We have to help our athletes understand that, it is important to first command the zone, command certain parts of the zone. And then as your body and your explosiveness develops from the weight room and from, growth spurts and so forth, you can then start to have some special features that maybe some higher end guys do. So that's one example. Another example that I gave earlier is, the long ball pays at the next level. We see a lot of guys getting recruited or getting their next contract, because of the long ball. And we all love that part of the game. And I love when it helps my Cardinals win, that's for sure. But I need to understand that may not be the most important piece where in our game, where the athletes are at. If we have a 15U team or a junior in high school that we're trying to help get to the next level, there's other parts of the game that we need to make sure he values. Maybe that's situational hitting. Maybe that's hitting under pressure, how to get anxiety out of his at bats. Maybe that's a ball to bat contact, that percentage increasing, or his strikeout percentage decreasing. We got to continue to help the athletes understand the finer parts of the game that will ultimately increase IQ, but then also it will let them be successful at the level that they're currently at, or the game that they're currently playing. When you watch the College World Series and you watch that amazing, run that Kentucky went on or Tennessee went on, there's so many finer points to the game that don't show up in the highlights, that don't show up on MLB Tonight. While we want our guys to learn from those big leaguers, we also want them to understand that our game in maybe the current age or the current level that we're coaching has other intricacies and IQ points that we need to make a priority. So just a little takeaway that I've had recently, and hearing college coaches speak on how they have to, make sure they stay in the stage of their athlete's career that they're in. And I thought that was an important reminder for me, and somebody that coaches a lot of high school aged athletes. It's important to give them the IQ parts of the game that are needed for the level that they're trying to be successful at.